He asked me for the time when he caught up to me at the intersection. I was less than 100 meters, 330 feet, from my family's home when the stranger grabbed me. He put my arm behind my back and started dragging me toward the darkened woods. He told me not to scream or he would break my arm. I asked him what he intended to do with me, and he told me. He said vile things to me that no child should ever have to hear. But then something inside me snapped. I don't recall what I said, but I screamed and I broke free of his grip. I ran to the home of a family I knew, which was just steps away. As I banged on their door, screaming for help, I saw my assailant scampering back the way he had come. The police were called, and my dad also arrived minutes later. After I calmed down enough to tell the story, we climbed into the police cruiser and drove around for 15 minutes looking for the creep who had assaulted me. We didn't find him. The police and adults in my life tried to comfort me, telling me, it could have been worse. That's true, it could have been. Still, I grappled with nightmares and felt like a freak for being afraid. I was ashamed that the experience had upset me so much. I had a secret. Mom and Dad told me not to talk about it, and I didn't. No one, not even my closest friends, knew what had happened to me. The next week, when I saw the local paper, there on the front page was the photo of me taken on the day of my assault. I was wearing the same clothes my monster had seen me in. I was horrified. He could easily recognize me. My full name was there in the caption. In those days, it was as simple as looking in the telephone book to find out where someone lived. Because there was only 2 families with the last name Browne in the directory at that time, I knew my attacker would likely figure it out. I began to be afraid he might come for me, that I was not safe at home. A couple of months later, just as I was beginning to get over my fear and anxiety, I saw the man again. I was hanging out with my friend Dominic, one of the guys I had been playing floor hockey with on the night of the attack. He and I had gone for lunch at a restaurant where his father worked. As we walked through the restaurant, I noticed a familiar face sitting at one of the tables. Our eyes met. It was the man who'd grabbed me. I recognized him and he recognized me. I walked past him, pretending I hadn't seen him. I felt him staring at me as I walked by. Once Dominic and I reached the kitchen, I felt sick to my stomach. I can't recall whether I ate anything, but I did not mention the sighting to anyone. I was embarrassed by my victimhood. I saw the man again that same day in his car. He was parked across the street from the school. I felt the implied threat and said nothing to anyone about it. I saw him again a couple more times in his car. He'd drive by slowly, glaring at me. I also saw him a few times walking along the same street where he had assaulted me. At least once, he was with a boy about my age. Again, belittling myself as a coward, I said nothing to anyone. Afterwards, rather than deal with the pain that everyone seemed to think I shouldn't be feeling, I shoved it deeper down inside and told myself to get over it. But I didn't. I couldn't. I couldn't stand the sight of the clothing that I'd been wearing on the night of my assault. The red windbreaker I'd been so proud of now anchored me to that night. The monster had tainted it for me, and unable to look at it anymore, I hid it, stuffing it far back into a cupboard above the coat closet in our entryway. There it sat behind seasonal outerwear, sleeping bags, and raincoats. I never laid eyes on it again. Hiding the windbreaker is symbolic of how I dealt with my assault as well. I turned inward on myself and became depressed, and just over a year later, I turned to drinking and drugs to bury the pain as deeply as possible. It was not until years later that I learned the man's name, and it was years after that before I was comfortable approaching the police with it. I was in my early 40s by that time. The Bridgewater police sent me a photo lineup, but I was unable to identify the man definitively. The photo they sent me was recent, and the man looked very different. Since I could no longer say for sure it was him, the detective on the phone told me they could not charge him with anything. I asked if he had been known to them. The detective